Hello and welcome to CVTV News. I'm David Kerr.
And I'm Deidre Haven. Well, last week we reported with heavy hearts of the passing of Spotsylvania icon Fire Chief Norman Brooks, Sr., a 47-year volunteer and career firefighter. On Tuesday, February 26, he was laid to rest. Services were held in Spotswood Baptist Church in Falmouth. In attendance were more than 1,500 people, a standing room only crowd of first responders, friends, family, and community members. Reverend Scott Quinn led the service. Chief Norman's pallbearers included 3 career and 3 volunteer firefighters, symbolizing the unity that Chief Brooks fostered between the 2 departments. In lieu of being transported by a traditional hearse, his casket was draped with an American flag, placed on top of and transported by Spotsylvania Tanker 1.
It's wonderfully appropriate.
I saw the video and I actually cried. The funeral procession began at Spotswood Baptist Church and stretched over 11 miles from Lafayette Boulevard to Partlow, Virginia. There were upwards of 70 vehicles in the procession that included sheriff escorts, 17 fire trucks, 9 ambulances, at least 13 other fire department vehicles, 8 tour buses.
Wow.
And many private vehicles. I'm guessing with that many people, they had to have the tour buses to facilitate the traffic. Along the way, roads were blocked by sheriff, deputies, and firefighters standing at attention to allow unfettered passage. During the services, people remembered Brooks' friendliness, his family-first orientation that included the work group, and his sense of humor. Chief Jay Cullinan said he was a character and a man of character. Before Brooks' death, he and Cullinan joked about how Brooks would probably line his own casket with lead or build some sort of device to make it sound like he was knocking from the inside. Chief Brooks' joking ceased when the tone sounded for a call. It was all about business because lives were at stake. Chief Brooks was laid to rest at Travelers Rest Baptist Church in Partlow, where there was a tolling of the bell ceremony, and his fire helmet was presented to his family, indicating the end of watch for Chief Brooks. The CVTV News team extends their deepest sympathies to the Brooks family, friends, fire department, and Spotsylvania County.
That's a great report and a passing of a very great man. On Tuesday, February 26th, the Stafford County School Board meeting was packed by a group of people in red.
Hashtag Sea of Red.
Hashtag Sea of Red. That is that all the educators wearing red in support of Stafford Education Association's move to increase wages across the board for Stafford County public school employees. Superintendent Scott Kisner pledged to support the increased compensation benefits and to open more positions for teaching and counseling. To address compensation, a vote passed with the school board to increase wages by 5% for all employees starting in the 2019-2020 school year. That would be starting this coming August. Employees with 13 years of service and beyond hope to get an additional 1% raise. That would be bring their increase to 6%. Increase in wages. The operative word, however, is hope. Yes, nothing's guaranteed at this point. While the school board voted for improved compensation, there are other battles that must be won before the raises are printed on their paychecks. Educators plan to take the fight across the street, across Route 1, across Highway 1, to the Board of Supervisors, as it's to the county supervisors. The Board of Supervisors holds the purse strings to authorize the release of school board funds. School employees countywide wait with bated breath to see what they'll do. In reference to benefits, the Finance and Budget Committee, the FABC, it's an acronym, doesn't quite fall off the lips. No, recommends an insurance premium holiday for school employees from April 1 through September 1, 2019. An analysis on June 30th, 2018 showed that health benefit claims by the county were less than anticipated. And since they're self-insured, this is important. The Health Benefit Fund held $29.4 million in reserves, while Anthem only recommends an escrow of $8.6 million. So there's an overfunding there. Therefore, the Finance and Budget Committee suggests that reserves be reduced by $2.3 million during a 6-month period to pay for insurance premiums. That's a de facto increase in employee compensation. While school employees would not have to pay for insurance during this time, they would begin paying again with lowered premiums, seeing the deduction in their October 1st paycheck should this provision be approved by the school board at its next meeting. That would be welcomed, I'm sure, by the employees.
Absolutely.
In reference to Dr. Kisner's pledge to increase staffing, this too is a work in progress. By Virginia law, a middle school and a secondary school classroom teacher's standard load requires no more than 150 students or 25 class periods per week. If a middle or secondary school classroom teacher teaches more than 150 students or 25 class periods per week, an appropriate contractual arrangement and compensation must be provided.
Compensation.
In other words, they have to be paid more. Many middle and high school teachers report they are teaching 160 to 180 students, with some numbers as high as 240 students with no additional compensation. Limits on student population are full-time equivalent teaching positions of 21 students to one teacher in middle schools and in high schools. Unfortunately, the school division may meet the statutory standard because the large classes a teacher instructs are averaged against the smaller classes in the building or the division. So sometimes it works out that the number actually says they're well within the limits. There are upper limits of 24 students to one teacher in kindergarten, which would be nightmarish, with no class being larger than 20 students. If the average
29 students.
29,
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. If the average daily membership in any kindergarten class exceeds 24 pupils, a full-time teacher's aide will be assigned to the class. While kindergarten has a promise of assistance for greater than normal ratios, but less than the max capacity, the law does not provide that for older grades.
Right.
Grades 1, 2, and 3 have limits of 30 students to one teacher per classroom. Grades 4 to 6 max out at 35 students. And in grades 6 to 12, the ratio caps at 24 students per one teacher for English classes. Unfortunately, we are seeing elementary schools at 110% capacity, workrooms being turned into classrooms for special education, and sharing noisy communal spaces for pull-out instruction, such as reading. While typical classrooms teeter just under the maximum capacity with no legally defined para-support, that's paraprofessional support, teacher's aide, the need for staffing extends to school bus drivers as they are at or above maximum load capacity with no adult monitoring support and the need to run multiple loads. That is, students wait at the school after teacher contract hours for one load to be dropped off and picked up and the bus to return to pick up another load at the same school. It's a catch-22. When we increase funding and benefits, we may attract more school staff, so it's hard to tell exactly how that's going to work.
We'll be right back.